All right, we're now broadcasting live and recording. And we'll see here if attendees start to come on in. Yeah, attendees are starting to arrive now. Welcome everybody as everyone joins. Thank you for joining us, even though we're just a couple minutes after the hour here. I'm going to give everyone a minute to continue to file in and sign up. We got a ton of people flooding in right here at the beginning. Thanks everyone for being prompt. We'll give everyone just 30 more seconds to arrive, and then we'll get the party started. Thanks to everyone who's joining. Hopefully we can provide some entertainment and education over the next hour, just like our issuer does. For everyone who's stuck at home, hopefully everyone's staying safe and everyone is keeping themselves occupied and doing well in what is, I know, a trying time for a lot of people. Looks like we have a great group so far, and I'm sure some other people will join in as we go along, but I think we can get started. So welcome everyone to Netcapital's live Q&A with Thinker Tinker. And we have with us today Yuting Su, the founder and CEO, as well as Jordan, who's a member of their team, who's gonna help us with a product demonstration. So thanks everyone for joining. The way this will work is I am Rob Burnett of Netcapital. I'll be your host. I'm going to be asking a series of questions of Thinker Tinker to help us better understand the company and the investment opportunity. I encourage everyone to listen and participate. At the bottom of your Zoom screen, there is a chat and Q&A function. If anyone would like to ask a question of Yuting or Jordan, please type your question below. I'll read them and I'll put them in kind of in an appropriate place along the way. So with that all being said, thanks again everyone for joining, and Yuting and Jordan, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for the intro, and I'm very excited to be here. It's a great opportunity, and we are running this campaign, and it's so excited to have this chance to talk directly with everyone that is interested in us.
Great. Well, why don't we kick it off? Yuting, why don't you just give us a brief overview of Thinker Tinker? What's the company all about?
Sounds good. So hi, everyone. My name is Yuting Su. I am the founder and CEO of Thinker Tinker. So Thinker Tinker is an edtech company with a vision to change the future of education. We believe that, for the future, as technology keeps advancing, it's really about combining physical and digital gameplay. We see a great opportunity here that parents are stressed. They are concerned of the increasing screen time with kids, but they don't really know what to do it. I'm a parent myself, so a lot of times it's like, okay, I can see the benefits of digital media, but at the same time, I'm very concerned how that will, do the bads to my kid. So I read a lot in, kids development. Like I have a background in medical informatics. I have a dual master's in medical informatics and interactive media and game design. So through my research, I started to look into the combination for physical and digital gameplay, because, that is the only way that we can provide a good platform for kids to learn and have fun, but have the benefits from the both worlds.
That sounds great, and I'm excited to see the kind of physical and digital come together in our product demo. But before we dive too deeply into the product, Yuting, talk to me a little bit more. You mentioned briefly, but talk to us a little bit more about your background and the background of your whole team, the team you brought together, because we all know that in startups, the founding team is such an important part of the success of a company.
So my personal background is in, medicine, research, and also design. So I built the Octavo actually in my thesis year when I'm studying interactive media. My focus is always in experimenting what is the best interface to combine physical and digital gameplay. I think we have seen a lot of product out there. It's either, very much on the digital side or very much on the physical side. But, as a game designer and developer, I made a lot of educational games on, screen media. But, I definitely see that is not the best channel for kids. So, I built the first prototype, and then, I reached out to my community. I got my MFA through USC's Cinematic School, which, is the epicenter of like entertainment and media. So through the network, through USC school, I built the first team that is, like very passionate in the space that we all believe in, this is the future, and we wanted to build something very innovative and very unique. So currently we have 7 people in the team. The engineering team is in Taiwan and China, which is focusing on software design and like the hardware inside the Octobo plush toy, which we will discuss more later. And then the content team is in Los Angeles. So Jordan and I are in Los Angeles, and our product director, Patrick, he was like director in Disney Interactive. He's my friend's friend. So when he left Disney, we got connected right away. And our art director, Emily, is also from Disney Interactive. They both have worked in the Club Penguin product. So, they have years of experience in the kids space. So we believe we have a really strong team that knows about kids and knows about the content space. And especially now we have signed a very unique deal with Universal DreamWorks. We believe, the portfolio product under Thinker Tinker brand can go beyond just Octobo, but there's more opportunity for us in the future that we can tap into.
That's great. And so before we dive into the product itself, can you talk to us a little bit about the problems you're trying to solve as a team?
I think I touched a little bit earlier. The main thing is about screen time. The 87 of kids now are having access to a mobile device in a daily basis. And a recent research showed that, an average kids spend about 2.5 hours on screen media every day, and half of it is on, mobile screens. At the same time, parents are very concerned, how screen time will affect their social skill, will affect their development. But, also 70% of parents believe in and they agree that, the content in digital media can benefit their kids in some way, and they need it. It's a trend. Our kids are becoming very digital native. It's kind of part of their world. So, we are providing a solution to this, growing issue that, parents are concerned, kids need it, but there's not really a best way that is provided to this audience that, can, leverage all of the benefits, but eliminate all of the damage that it can come. So, we created the Octobo interactive plush toy that, we spent 2 years of R&D in creating a seamless sensor that can put into a plush toy. So compared to, other products out there, it's more transactional, press here, press there, or, for robotic toys, it's it's hard, it's not that warm and comforting for kids. Octobo is very unique in a way that you can treat it like a traditional plush toy. Kids can roll around with it, they can, build a personal connection with the plush toy, but at the same time, Octobo can display you, respond to you like no traditional plush toy can do. So you can see on Jordan's screen, Octobo is responding with different faces. But once we trigger gameplays and inside our storybook, there's educational content. So once you trigger that, Octobo can provide you not only the personal, the character response, but more educational content. So the product itself can actually have multiple layers, and how we build the product is really modular, is flexible. So in the future, the same model, the same structure can further reskin and remap it to even more gameplay. We're thinking of this like a platform that can expand to even bigger in the future.
Great. So just to dig a little deeper, so what you're saying is because kids are having so much screen time, there's a lot of benefits around all the content they can take in, but obviously screens are hard, robots are hard, they're not very lovable. So you're trying to combine a screen with plush toys to make it a more interactive and kind of more fulfilling and more educational experience for those kids?
Exactly. I think there's definitely a growing trend in tech toys, but when you search for tech toys, it's mostly robotic toys. And what's the problem with robotic toys? First, it's very expensive. Most of them is over $200, even $300. That is not a price that most families can afford. And secondly, it's not that easy to set up and not that easy to use. Like parents are busy, like of course there's, some parents are very into the robotic space, but think of like the general like audience, they want something that can easily tap into their life. We're using like your own mobile device, your phone or your tablet to download the content, and it ultimately connect to the plush toy. It's very seamless, and it's like riding along with what families are already like used to. That they already like downloading apps through the app store. So we're doing the same thing. So like when we push out new content, it's the same for them. They just go to the app store, they download it, and they can start playing. So nothing new, nothing more to learn. We want the unboxing experience, not just as easy for kids, but also for parents. It's so like Octobo, it's easy to use. The price is more affordable for families, and also the interface, the soft surface. We talked a lot with our audience, and the one thing they love the most is how comforting, how soft Octobo is, that parents feel more comfortable it giving into the kid's hand compared to a hard robotic toy.
Yeah, that's exciting. And so my understanding is, Jordan, did you want to give us a little demo of the product? I know a handful of you are on the phone, but hopefully most of you will be able to see Octobo in action.
Yeah, of course. Let me just unmute myself there. Hi, everyone. I'm Jordan, and this is our first product, Octobo. Like Yuting mentioned, we really want to change how kids and families interact with technology. So rather than them developing a relationship with a screen or a device, they're really developing a relationship with a character and a companion that can grow with them for years. So we're bringing more physical stimulation to the digital game space. So the Octobo plush has different sensors integrated throughout his body. So there's some on his head, so you can give him a little hug. You can even wiggle his arms and he'll respond. And as an educational tool, he comes with different storybooks and tokens. So this is our Great Letter Search Story Kit, and these storybooks focus on different educational themes. So this one teaches spelling, letters, and vocabulary, and comes along with these special interactive tokens. So Octobo also has an RFID reader in his bowl. So that allows him to read the token and play a little animation that corresponds to what you're reading and learning in the storybook.
Very fun. And then how have you seen kind of parents and kids respond to these so far?
Great. I actually have a few young nieces that love it. I brought one home over Christmas break, a little personal tangent here, but my niece fell in love with it automatically. She really captured the essence of Octobo as a companion and a character, rather than knowing that it was a mobile device in the plush. So it's just a simple tablet that you insert, or a device up to 8 inches, that acts as his brain. But it's really interesting how kids are attracted to the character aspect. So it's really nice to bring and know that Octobo is providing a sense of companionship rather than just digital gameplay. There's really the physical element that's shown.
That's really fun. And so for either Jordan or Yuting, Octobo is obviously the first product. Where does it go from here? Where does both kind of your product line go, and where does the company go?
Yeah, like first I think we started with like the Octobo product. So we've been like working on the Octobo product for the first 2 years. It's all about Octobo. But then we got selected in Comcast Techstars Accelerator program, and that really changed our mindset and found the potentials through Octobo. The time we were with Comcast and Techstars, I think like the management team and Comcast and Universal sort of fell in love with what we bring to the table, that it's a new way to combine, physical and digital, that for them it's about combining like interactive and consumer product together. So I think throughout, all of the mentorship and advice there, we see that, the Octobo model is not just for Octobo. We found that the technology that we build, like the way that how our sensors can connect to, the mobile device, is pretty much like endless. because you can think of Octavo like a controller for the game. Like your PS4 controller or your Xbox or Nintendo Switch, like the controller, the sensor itself is there. And it's all about, the designers, how we can create like more games to map the triggers to controlling the gameplay. So once the hardware is done, it's all about, how much we can grow it. And, the same type of sensors, we can just reskin it to other characters. Either it's like under our own like Octavo universe, or, what is very exciting is the partnership with Universal DreamWorks that we will be working on their Trolls franchise and create another interactive product line with them. So it's also like going to ride on the same, physical, like digital gameplay, but what all of the knowledge and learning we got from Octavo will have this opportunity to apply to a second product, which is very exciting.
And before we get too far ahead, I wanted to circle back for a second. Yuting, for those unfamiliar, can you explain a little bit about what Techstars is and kind of what happens at Techstars, what they are, what they do? I know us at Netcapital, we're very familiar, but some of our investors on the line might not be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say like I'm very grateful and feel very lucky that we got selected in Techstars. So Techstars is one of the top accelerator program in the United States. Well, I would say now it's like globally because they have programs all over the world. So they are a strong network of startups. They provide mentorship. They provide the initial funding for $120,000, and further along, like there's like connection in the business space and all of the the perks. And I would say like for us, the most benefit is about like the mentorship network. So through the Techstars and Comcast, because Comcast program is that we have the whole Comcast backing us as well, we got a chance to like be really deep in the media like giant. We know people's there, and we got connected to like advisors like all over the world and all over the States. So that really helped us in understanding our product. So we're not just like working in silo, like closed door, working ourselves. And like it's a whole network that we can ask questions and get mentorship for. So yeah, it's a great program, a great accelerator, not only on the funding side, but also all of the benefits that is lifelong connection. Even we graduate from the program, I still have daily access to all of their forums and mentorship programs.
Yeah, congrats on graduating from Techstars. That's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about the market for Octavo and products beyond Octavo. Can you talk to us a little bit about kind of the market, what the market size looks like? How big could this be?
Yeah, so from a recent report, we can see the global smart toy market is estimated to go to $24 billion. It's definitely like a growing trend. I think people started to look into all of the tech space, and like for us, I think the whole space is like pretty endless. And like on our offering page, like there's like some breakdown on the whole like potential space for us. But I think for now, now we have the Octavo product and also the Trolls product. So we don't limit ourselves just on the smart toy space. There's like kids consumer markets, kids media market. There's also like, so I think for us, like what is very unique is we're not just like living on the consumer electronic space. There's because how we build Octavo, it's because my cinema background, when I started Octavo, I wrote a whole like world building doc for Octavo. So there's a story behind Octavo. Octavo is living in like the Puzzmo village. Octavo has like 4 other friends that you will meet in his storybook, and we have the thoughts of growing Octavo not only on the consumer product but also in like kids media. So kids media is also a very big market. See how many like Netflix and how many like bigger like content giants are invested in like kids media. So we have like 2 potential revenue and exit exit opportunity, which is one is on the content space, and the other one, of course, is in consumer product, consumer electronics space. Rob, I can't hear you.
Myself to be polite, and then of course I forgot to unmute myself. Sorry, everybody. I was asking, can you talk to us kind of to capture that market? Can you talk to us a little bit about the business model, both on the consumer product side, on the content side, and any other kind of revenue streams you might have?
Yeah. So currently, Octavo is we are building it like a razor blade model, which we started with the first product sale. But we currently have like 2 story kits available, and the third one is in development. You can see like on Jordan's screen, a story kit is a storybook, an interactive storybook with multiple tokens. And also like the app, and also like a physical play guide that we work with our educational consultant to create, for example, like for the ABC token, not just like triggering the mini games, you can use that for spelling, to play hangman, to play stacking games. Like there's more gameplay that we provide than just like playing with the digital element for it. So it's like a whole bundle of content. So currently we start with this like physical add-on model. But what is on our roadmap for this year is a digital subscription. So we always have this idea, and we also see like a good trend and interest in the kids subscription space. Like Kiwi Crate or even for ABC Mouse, those are like the top one for like physical subscription and digital subscription. But for us, I think we are at a very unique position that we have our own supply chain. So not a lot of companies have the ability to do, digital games internally, but also have a supply chain to do like physical productions. So like just to go a little bit deeper on what I said, what I mean by, a subscription, there's actually like 2 channels of subscription that we're planning. The first one is it's called like Octavo Insight. So if you're familiar with like a Nest Cam or the Ring camera, when you purchase the first device, you'll have access to some features. But if you wanted to have historical data, if you wanted to have access to more features, then you will pay like a monthly fee to like unlock those features in our app. So for Octavo, we can do the same because we're already collecting some analytics data in the back end, like how long kids are playing, like which storybooks they're playing, what is their interest, how they perform in, our like spelling game and other educational games. So, we can just like repackage like those information and display in a report model for parents. So once they subscribe to this like monthly bundle, they will have access to their kids like performance data with Octavo. And the secondly is more like the other like subscription, like content and product subscription. So coming back to, we can develop both like digital apps and also physical bundles. So when you subscribe to it, you like every other week, every other month, you will either get a new like storybook, or there's some like physical elements that you can like add on to the Play with Octavo, or we can deliver you a mini game, like another app game for you to play. So instead of like going like just straight on like physical delivery or like a digital like subscription, we can provide kind of like this mixed model that I would say is like pretty unique and new in the market space that not a lot of people have started to do.
And I think very relevantly, we have our first investor question from the crowd. So they were wondering about revenues, both current and future, and then if you could speak to the valuation as well.
Of course. So like I think our current valuation is a very good deal for everyone. The consideration behind that, like first, we are a Techstars backed company. Comcast is also on our cap table. We have developed an IoT platform, which is Octavo, that at this point we already de-risked a lot for what you will see like for like a hardware, a consumer product company. Like the first stage is the hardest. There's like so many things can go wrong in actually producing a product. And it's like for at this point, we have the Octobo like in the market. We have like signed a very exciting deal with Universal DreamWorks, and we're looking for a very good trend in continue on the Octobo product, and like our new product line, everything is like growing in a very good and positive speed. So like I think we are in a very strong position right now. Oh, Rob, you're muted again.
Sorry, keep making that mistake. The second part of that question was, could you speak a little bit about revenues, both current and a little bit of future?
Yes. So currently our revenue just hit the $100,000 mark. That includes our pre-orders. So we have about 560 units pre-order, and we have like a B2P pilot running with a research institute in Taiwan, which they purchased 60 units, which we are also seeing expecting they're purchasing the second batch from us maybe later this year or like next year. Just to speak a little bit about like the B2B space, I think that is more like a side arm for us, that we release Octobo's SDK for interested parties, so they can, they still use the Octobo product, but they can remap the Octobo sensors using our SDK to their application. And that is what the B2B channel with the Research Institute are doing. So they are using Octobo as a research and data collection tool for dementia and diabetic patients that is living in the rural area. Like from that, we also got about like 20K revenue through that partnership. And then since we launched the product officially, like starting in January, we got like a couple more sales. Currently, because of the COVID like situation, we're holding a little bit of our like marketing push, but since now I think everything is like going more stable and we have like revised and improved our like sales funnel, we will be launching our marketing campaign again in a couple of weeks. So for this year, I think we are looking at about like $300,000 to $500,000 revenue. And that we are also expecting that the revenue will come, like 40% will come around, the Christmas time. And, since now we are in the market for long enough, I think I have like channels to go into like gift guides. And, there's of course like a couple of, pop-up retails. Also Toys R Us, we are in like connection with like contact with Toys R Us that the Toys R Us are coming back. I have I've talked to their CEO directly. I think like people are interested in seeing how Octobo can become like this like new product when all of the Toys R Us stores are coming back as well. So I think like for the next few months, Octobo will be on like e-commerce, on our own website, on Amazon. We're also talking to some other like e-retailer stores. And then like later for Christmas, we're really going to push the sale. And there's also like a couple of like channels that we're discussing right now.
Great. And our next, another question from an attendee is, are you in any major retailers like Walmart?
Mm-hmm. We're not considering to go into, Walmart or Target. There's a couple considerations. So first, like for those places, the margin is actually very, very low. Their buying price is about like 50% of the sales price. And then they're also holding like a very big amount of inventories, which like for startups, like I think the general advice is not going into retail until we grow to a certain size. And secondly, for the Octobo product, I think you can all see that there's a lot of elements, like interactive elements that, it's not that, well, I would say like it definitely is like needs like more education for consumers. So like when you are on shelf, there's less potentials to, to show the interactive elements. So I think the first step is like really growing the brand. On e-commerce, we will be able to push out like digital ads. We can do, you know, promotions, our own website, PR, and everything together. People can start understanding the brand. And I think you can do a quick search like online, like Romper or, you know, Toy Insiders. Like people are, like media are loving Octobo. They think Octobo is great. So I think keep pushing it on this trend, and you know, once people are like really understanding Octobo, then you know, the specialty stores, when people can, like, you know, like smaller stores, when you know, the people there can like talk for us, like they can introduce what Octobo is. So like the Toys R Us, or like the beta, which, you know, that is the new type of like consumer channel that you will be able to display your product, and then they will have a associate like standing next to your product and introduce it. So like we are looking into, you know, unique models like that. And there's like more and more channels like this available. So we will start with the experience stores, and then I think like next year will be the year that we're looking into the brick and mortar resale.
Great, and thanks everyone for sending in your questions. There's a lot of them coming in. We're going to try and just keep working through them. You think someone asked, you know, without getting too speculative, someone asked about what's the exit strategy and the approximate time horizon, and you know, the idea of kind of what you might see in terms of an exit.
So I will say that we actually have very good like exit opportunities. If you like, there's a couple of like examples in the space just in like recent years. So first is like toy companies are acquiring like other toy companies. For example, like Sphero acquiring like Spectrum and Little Bits. Like Jazzware just acquired the Wicked Cool Toys in the past year. So, you know, there's definitely a bigger toy companies are interested in like specialty, like smaller companies. And I think like we definitely, you know, are the type of like specialty like toy companies that, you know, we do like tech toys. Like we have the ability in, you know, doing, you know, like development in both like hardware and software. So for that, like that is kind of like a unique skill that you don't really see in traditional toy market. So that is like channel number one. Channel number two is like product companies are acquiring content companies. For example, like Spin Master acquired Sagomini and Toca Boca. So Toca Boca and Sagomini, they build their own characters. Before they join Spin Master, they're a purely digital like app company, but they have like cute characters that Spin Master see this like the potential. So for us, like I mentioned, like Octobo is not just an Octobo character, you know, or just an octopus. You know, he is a character, like he has a whole world, he has other friends. And as we keep like pushing, you know, the content side of things, you know, we wanted to introduce the whole universe, and so we ourselves can become, you know, a content provider. And the third one will be, you know, content company acquiring like content company. So that, for example, it's like Moonbug is acquires like Little Baby Bon. So that's also like a channel that we can play on the content space.
Great. And another question was about, you know, the question is, how about the education area? So how do you see kind of education and selling to educational institutions as a way to continue to expand the brand and the product?
Of course, that is definitely a channel that we're looking into. So there's a company called Tecterra. They actually help like Osmo sell into like schools and institutes. So we are like, we met them during CES this year, and we are in, you know, conversation with them to understand a little bit more about the school space. I think this year might not be like the best year to like, you know, look into the space, because, you know, all of the schools are closed, and, you know, schools are experiencing some like financial like issues because all of the situation. But at the same time, I think like this year we really wanted to build, you know, the brand, the consumer, like the direct to consumer channel. And, you know, I think the school institute is definitely a place that we're interested in, and we're start investigating in it. But I would call that maybe like a like a second step for us, because there's definitely a couple of things that we will need to change in the product, or we need to create like additional content like curriculum plans for school. So definitely I think we got a lot of inquiries from teachers that they love to see Octavo like in their classrooms. But in order to sell into schools, it's not just like the teacher's interest. Like there's a lot of groundwork that we need to do as a company before we can prepare ourselves to get into there. So at least now we know like there's interest, and then we will start like working on how to get ourselves ready for that pitch and that conversation.
Great. And another question asked was, Jordan mentioned that you can use a tablet-like device up to 8 inches. Will there be other plushes that can accommodate larger tablets or iPads that people are currently using?
Mm-hmm. So we did a lot of surveys with our customers. The reason why we set it to up to 8 inches is most of the kids' tablets is like around like 7 to 8 inches. So the majority of devices that kids are using is around 7 to 8 inch tablets or their parents' old phones. Or new phones, like when they're like traveling or they're like outside. So Octavo is like designed to accommodate that trend. But like I said, like, the sensor itself is pretty modular. It's easy for us to remap it to other characters. So definitely, if we see like an ask and a need in the market for like bigger tablets, it will not be too hard for us to create a new product like for that size. So yeah, definitely we will keep an eye on the market trend and like made adjustments if needed. Rob, you're muted again.
I'm sorry, I'm just leaving myself off mute. That's the third time today. It's just a reminder for the attendees. We're coming towards the end of our questions, so if anyone has some last minute questions for Yuting or Jordan, please let us know. Throw those in now. The next question and the lineup is, with the current raise and with a goal of $1 million, do you see having to do another raise?
Mm-hmm. So I think for this raise, even we set like to go as like the maximum amount that is allowed on the site, but it's really like we do have enough runway in the company, because we raised our pre-seed round after our Techstars accelerator program. So that raise has supported us to continue on developing Octavo, launch Octavo in the market. So this raise is really about fueling the growth. Like we can definitely continue like manage in a very lean and agile way. But, because all of the exciting opportunity that is currently like on the table for us now, I do wanted to push the growth a little bit more. We have a lot of like content growing plans, like marketing plans, and like the funding that we got in on Netcapital will be like majority used on the content growth plan, and and of course like for marketing channel reach. So we're not like too concerned that like if we're pushing ourselves to the $1 million mark, but of course the more like support and funding we can get, the faster that we can grow and launch all of the exciting contents that we have in our roadmap.
Great. And one follow-up question to that is, someone asked, what is your runway and what's your burn rate?
Mm-hmm. Our runway is, we still have about 10, well, like I said, this really depends on how we manage the company and the development. So if we keep like the minimum effort, like launch maybe like a book or 2 books, like every 6 months, within like this speed, I think we have about like 10 to 12 months runway like from now. And of course, like once we get like more sales, like the runway will extend. But like I think our goal is really to push maybe like 10 books within like 6 months. And of course, additional to the books, we wanted to make like maybe 5 more mini games to accompany Octobo. And then, the Trolls Music Stars product line. Now we are aiming for like an October, November launch for the Christmas season. And, depends on, the funding, then we can decide, what is the size of the production. We can definitely do like 10,000 units or, 20,000 units. Like there's definitely a lot of things that, we can decide for ourselves. So I would say that, if we're doing like a very standard like production, then 10 to 12 months runway, and our and our monthly burn is about 10K, which we control it as like very minimum. And also like our engineering team is like overseas, so we definitely cut like a lot of the costs like over there. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Great. Sorry, excuse me. And someone asked, and I'm going to send this link out as well, can you still invest?
Oh, of course. Yes, please go to Netcapital, search for Thinker Tinker. Yes, it's still open. So yeah, we're welcome everyone that is interested to join our team.
And I've included for all attendees a link. There was also a link in the email you sent, but there's a link now in the chat function to Thinker Tinker's page on Netcapital. The next question in our list was, what benefits to investors?
Yeah, so of course, you will get a piece of the company. I think the reason why we choose Netcapital is, first, I think they have a really good, back-end system to manage all of the stocks. So once you invest it in, you will have like a whole, back-end system. I think Rob can talk a little bit more about that, but, the management of your stock investment is very like straightforward. And then, compares to, other platform, they may be on like a safe notes or, so what are like convertible like notes. But like for Netcapital, once you invest it, it's a stock. So you definitely just like, you will get you will get the stock of our company directly. So there's no, further converting and like those stuff. And then, there's no additional, like paperwork that you need to sign or, review or going like any legal, because everything is already like set up. So that is kind of sort of like the benefit to invest like through the Netcapital platform. And also, Netcapital also like allows for secondary sales. So like once in the future, you wanted to try to trade it off, I think that they also have like a good, portal in that platform that you have the flexibility to do so. And on the company side, like once you invested, because I think for us, the reason why we decided to launch an equity crowdfunding campaign, because we do see a lot of interest through the general public in us, in companies like us. And because we are very consumer focused like product and business, we wanted to have like as much advocates and people that are interested in us joining us like as part of it, so we can work together to really build the platform together. So of course, like as an investor in the company, you will have access to, all of our new and exciting news. And we will also do like a beta program. Like once like we have a new product launching and, like a testing programs, you will definitely be the first to know. And also we will have perks in the future. Like if you're joining our like testing program, we'll send you a product. Like things like that. We're definitely going to use our investors as, like the very close, I would say like advice and like survey channel. So you will be able to show your opinion and let us know what you think, and also being involved in our development for more products in the future.
Great, and thank you, by the way. It looks like a couple of our attendees have already invested, which is fantastic. Very exciting.
Thank you.
So Yu-Ting, do you plan to extend this round past April 30th?
Yeah, we are considering it. If we see a good amount of interest like coming to us, then we might extend for a little bit further. But like I said, like I think we are using this platform as kind of like gathering like interest and advocates for us, as well as like people that is really believing us. So I think right now, like April 30th is what we set, but we'll see like how everything goes, and there's might have a chance to extend, but yeah, like we will see. Haven't like set anything on stone yet.
Great. And the last question we have for now, unless anyone has any others, please put them in now, is when will we know how much a share is worth? We can obviously start with what your current share price is, and then how that evolves over time. If you want to speak to that, I can also speak a little bit to that as well.
Yeah, Rob, maybe you can like start with it, and then I can chime in.
Sure. So Thinker Tinker's current share price is $8.46. And then, that can rise and fall, or, hopefully rise over time. And whether or not, these shares are inherently illiquid, although, Netcapital does have options for investors, but, upon an exit, you would learn then what the shares are valued at. And you could talk a little bit maybe again about kind of multiples you'd seen in other places in the industry, things like that.
Yeah. So, like I think now we just launched the product in the market. So, there's definitely a lot of opportunity for the valuation to growth. As we like launch a second product line, and maybe like more like product line with Universal Dreamworks, as we, like push out like the Octavo, the Octavo product, and then like more storybooks and more content, like there's, I would say like, we see like a whole roadmap of expansion plan like in front of us. So definitely I think for the valuation of the stock, there's a great potential to keep growing, because we're still I won't say like at the very beginning, but it's like at the start of like a huge trend of growth. So I can say like very confidently, because we see all of the opportunities like in front of us, there's definitely a lot that we will be able to grow and expand into.
Great. And then there was just one more comment, which was someone said, it was an anonymous attendee, but said, thank you so much for the presentation. Love the business model and plan to invest. Keep up the great work.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone has any last second questions, please put them in now. Otherwise, Yuting or Jordan, is there anything else you want potential investors to know before we sign off?
So yeah, like I think, like we talked about, like Octobo's plan, like Octobo's like the B2B model, and then the Trolls and the DreamWorks deal. Like I get a little bit on the Trolls game. So the Trolls game will be a music remixing game, which very excitingly, we also like the original soundtrack and like music from the Trolls franchise is also included in the deal. So the music that you will hear like inside and you will play with inside the app will be original soundtrack from Trolls. So those will not be the music we create ourselves, will be the music from Universal as well. So there's a very tight partnership and collaboration with the Universal team, because normally, music licensing is like one arm, digital interactive game is one arm, and like consumer product is one arm. But we are the only product that has the opportunity and, the support from their management team to pull everything like together. So I would say like even, the deal is still like a licensing deal, but, the actual like what is involved in there is a lot more tighter than, for other, direct licensing that you see, just print a minion on the backpack, or, a toothpaste with the Trolls on it. This is really something that is going to be very special, and we are super excited for this.
Great. And it looks like we have one last question. Can you talk a little bit, I know you mentioned it earlier, but can you talk a little bit about how the pandemic affected your plans?
So on like very fortunately, like Octopus production has wrapped up in like Q4 last year, and a good amount of inventory has like shipped to our US warehouse. So I think for a company like us, the biggest concern is the production delay, and how that will affect like inventories and stuff. So I can share like very happily that we are not affected on the production side like at all. And from the start of the pandemic, I think we're following like some general rules and guidance like in the business space, which is preserving cash, cut like marketing costs, and just like observe like what is happening around. So that is exactly what we did. So we sort of like turn back in and focus on like improving like marketing funnels, like working on like our apps and storybooks, what we can do like and control like internally. Because like originally I think our plan is like to push for sales first and then like start the content development plan, but we kind of like just like swapped it a little bit because we did run like a few months of ads at first, and then we see like a good rate, a good conversion rate, but there's just definitely things that we can improve, like our creatives, our our ad copy, our website. So that's definitely what we are doing right now. We have done like 3 revisions in the past months on our website, and like now we see like, okay, everyone has like gotten into like the new norm. So we will launch our like marketing plan again. It's just like we have our inventories like ready. So once like we have everything, the funnels ready, then we can like relaunch the all of our marketing push in a very strong way.
Well, thanks, Yuting. Thanks, Jordan. That looks like the end of our questions, and we're coming up on the end of our time anyway. Thanks everyone who attended. Just as a reminder, Thinker Tinker is currently live and open for investment on netcapital.com. I included the link to their offering page in the chat, and you can also find them by just going to netcapital.com and looking up Thinker Tinker. If anyone has additional questions for Yuting over time, please post them on her discussion board on the Netcapital page. If anyone has questions about Netcapital and how Netcapital operates, feel free to reach out to me directly. My information should be in all the email confirmations you got when you signed up for this webinar. Again, thanks Yuting, thanks Jordan for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Everyone stay safe and stay healthy. Thanks, everyone, for participating. Have a good one.
Take care. Bye.